Last week, astronomy gave us one of those slightly uncomfortable reminders that the universe is still much bigger, messier and weirder than the clean little diagrams made it look in school. Because in the space of just few days, we got 3 interesting stories. One telescope looked into the heart of the Milky Way and captured more than 60 million stars in single view. Another result suggested that parts of our own galaxy may stretch wider than we previously thought. And at the same time, astronomers are warning that the night sky itself could become harder to study because of the sheer number of satellites we are putting above the Earth. So basically, we are learning more about the galaxy, while also slowly making it harder to see the galaxy. Very human behavior, honestly. But let's start with Euclid. Euclid's Space Telescope captured an incredibly detailed view of the Milky Way's crowded central region. And this image contains more than 60 million stars, along with nebulae and star clusters. ESA describes it as the largest high-resolution visible light photo ever made of the center of our galaxy. And what makes this so ridiculous is that this is not even the whole Milky Way. This is just one crowded region near the galaxy's heart. This is the kind of number that breaks your brain a little bit, because 60 million already sounds enormous, but in galaxy terms, it's still just a tiny part of the bigger picture. Euclid is not just taking pretty images for people like us to stare at and quietly question our life choices. This crowded region is useful because astronomers can search for exoplanets using something called gravitational microlensing. That sounds complicated, but the idea is actually beautiful. Sometimes when one object passes in front of a more distant star, its gravity bends and magnifies the light behind it. So instead of using a glass lens, the universe uses gravity. A planet can briefly show itself because it slightly changes the brightness of a background star. We are not directly seeing the planet, we are noticing its gravitational fingerprint. But the second story may be more interesting because it's about something we think we know very well. It's about our own galaxy. NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory has been used in a new result suggesting that the outer spiral arms of the Milky Way may reach wider than previously thought. NASA says this could lead astronomers to adjust their understanding of our galaxy's structure. And that might sound strange at first, because you would think the Milky Way should be easy to map. We live inside it, but that is exactly the problem. We live inside it. Trying to map the Milky Way from Earth is a bit like trying to draw the layout of your entire house while sitting inside one kitchen cupboard. You can see some things clearly, other things are blocked. Some things are behind dust, and some things are so far away that you need very clear methods just to work out where they actually are. In this case, astronomers looked at X-ray echoes, produced after powerful gamma-ray bursts. These bursts light up dust clouds in our galaxy, and by studying how those rings expanded over time, scientists could estimate where the dust was. That gives them another way to measure distances inside the Milky Way. And the results suggest that some outer spiral arm structures may be further away than previous maps expected, which means our map of the Milky Way is not finished, not even close. And I love that because people often talk about space as if astronomy is just a collection of finished facts. Like we open the universe, read the manual, and now we just updating the software. But that's not what it is. Even the galaxy we live in still has question marks. We know the Milky Way is a spiral galaxy, we know roughly where the sun sits, we know there are arms, dust clouds, star-forming regions and central bulge. But the exact structure, the true shape, the full extent of its outer arms, still being refined, still being corrected, still slightly embarrassing for the cosmic cartography department. And then comes the third story, which is less, wow, space is huge, and more, please stop putting shiny rubbish in the sky. ESO has warned that current proposals for large satellite constellations and bright objects in orbit could have serious consequences for ground-based astronomy. According to SEO, proposals could involve over 1.7 million new satellites, and the study argues that protecting astronomy would require keeping the total number of satellites far lower, around 100,000 faint satellites below naked eye visibility from a dark side. And this is where the whole week becomes weirdly poetic. Because on one side, telescopes like Euclid and Chandra are helping us understand the Milky Way in greater detail. But on the other side, the view from Earth is becoming more crowded. Now, to be clear, satellites are useful. They help with communication, navigation, weather monitoring, disaster response, and all sorts of things we rely on. And this is not some cartoon argument of satellites are bad and telescopes are good. The problem is scale. One satellite trail across an image is annoying. Thousands are a serious issue. Hundreds of thousands or potentially more start to change what the night sky actually is. For professional observatories, these streaks can interfere with long exposures. For wide field surveys, they can contaminate huge amounts of data. And for ordinary people, it raises a sad question. What happens when the natural night sky stops looking natural? So the Milky Way might be bigger, our maps may need updating, and the view from Earth might be getting worse. Which is a strange thought, because the universe is not becoming less mysterious. If anything, every new telescope makes it more mysterious. But the real question is whether we will still have a clear enough sky to keep looking. Well, thank you for watching and keep looking up.